United States submarine base at Key West, Florida. A dispatch that quoted President Truman's press secretary, Charles Ross, as saying that President Truman has no knowledge of any secret project by this government that would give substance to the existence of such objects. Ross also said that both the Air Force and the Navy deny that such objects exist.
Hi.
Hi. God, this chair is not good for recording.
Yeah. Well,
It's just loud every time. Well, now it's not going to do it.
I can't. Yeah, I was gonna say I can't hear it. But it looks like you're gonna fall every time.
This is the chair.
I know, the infamous chair. Hey, what's up? My name is Noelle, and I am. What am I? Honestly, I am my flu shot that for sure was fighting multiple diseases. Flying from, well, first of all, I went from an outdoor 3-day festival to then flying across country. And it was like I could feel that my body was fighting something, but I never actually got like fully sick like I usually do with my little paper immune system. So I know that's because I got my flu shot. So shout out to my flu shot.
You know what? I'm going to piggyback off that and say shout out to my COVID shot. I have not worn a mask all season, and I've just been slurping emergency. And I've, similar to you, I've been on that kind of that fine razor's edge of being like, am I getting sick? Am I just tired? Is it just a headache? And like all these different things. And I'm like, oh God. So the flu shot mixed in with the COVID shot, I think.
Yeah.
We're both doing good.
I know that I know that I was getting sick. I even got the minor signs warning on my Aura ring, but right when it was about to go over the edge, I just bounced back. So
yeah.
Bless. I can't thank it enough. And you know what I'll also give a shout out to? Speaking of emergency, my mom got me onto these. They make emergency basically pop rocks that are like travel on the go. So you just rip it open and pour it in your mouth and they're delicious. The original orange flavor is the best. Berry's not as good, but still okay. Also, highly recommend those. Anyway.
Nice. I like the little packets, and then you're supposed to drink them with like 8 ounces of water, but I like to put them in a shot glass and just shoot them down. I will say one of my best memories ever was Jim Starlin, creator of Thanos, and I chewed the plop down, not the chewable kind, but the regular emergency that was like an Alka-Seltzer, and we just kept eye contact and chewed him down. One of the best days of my life.
And you know, that's on making memories. So this is also a PSA to everyone. Go out there and get your flu shot and get your COVID shot. You have to get a prescription for it from your doctor, which is stupid. But if you just message your doctor and say, I want my COVID shot, they say, okay. And they send a prescription over to Walgreens and you get your shot and everything's good and we're all safe and protected. And if you do that, you'll help people like me who get deadly sick this time of year not and be able to enjoy Christmas again because I've been sick with COVID for 2 Christmases now.
You'll not only help Noelle, but you'll help people like me, hypochondriacs. So,
yep. It's a 2 for 1. So, anyway,
don't be evil.
Literally don't. It's so evil to not get a flu shot. It's like you're a pussy and you hate needles. Okay, bitch made. But anyway, also apologies for not recording last week. It's because I was flying across country for a last minute work trip. So anyway, back to October.
Speaking of devils, they said the devils walked on hands in Loudun, that pious women bent backwards like bows until the spine itself clicked and sang. They said the air in the Ursuline convent was full of breath that didn't belong to any living mouth, and that when the bells tolled, the sound lured more than just townsfolk. It drew Asmodeus and Behemoth like flies to milk left. Did I say Asmodeus?
Yeah.
Asmodeus.
Okay.
Should I start over?
No, it's fine.
Asmodeus and Behemoth like flies to milk left in the sun. They said there was laughter that wasn't joy, moans that weren't prayer, tongues that darted like lizards and turned black, pimpled and obscene. They said one priest's enemies found at last a way to make his sins glow like coals in public until the fire in the crowd made sure the story would be believed forever. Tonight we're going to Loudun, France, a walled town the crown wants to tear down, beset by plague and steeped in a fear that dresses itself carefully as faith. By the time the smoke clears, a handsome parish priest named Urbain Grandier will be shackled to a stake. The nuns will still be writhing and spitting, and the greatest statesman in France will be satisfied that a nuisance has been dealt with. The year is 1632, and in the small town of Loudun, the province of the Poitou, tensions hum like a drawn bowstring. The crown under Louis XIII wants the city walls torn down, part of a grand campaign to centralize power, and the town is split along confessional lines. Many Huguenots want to keep the walls, but most Catholics back the monarchy.
And the divide runs deep. Only a generation earlier, France had been torn apart by the Holy Wars, decades of bloodshed between Catholics and Protestants that left the country scarred and suspicious. Which, first of all, I hate living in the United States because I didn't know there was like a fucking 40-year-long holy war of religions. I didn't know. Did you know that?
No. I was trying to genuinely think back, and I was like, is this the 40-year war?
I don't know if they're the same.
40
Yeah, look that up.
War about.
Anyway, I just like, there's so much.
War was fought between 1596 and 1636.
So,
yeah, a generation earlier.
Yeah.
The 40-year war. Yeah. But I didn't know the 40-year war was a holy war.
Yeah, it was a holy war.
I don't even know if I knew what it was about. What was the War of the Roses about? People
I don't
wanted
know.
to plant peonies, man.
I don't know. And it
I've
honestly,
been told once, but my smooth brain, it falls right out.
I've never been told, so I'm waiting. I'm still waiting. But this one, apparently the 40-year war / holy war was about religion. So
heard it here first, folks.
Specifically Catholics and Protestants. So the more you know. Do I know what the difference is? No. So that's on period.
Do I want to know?
No.
No.
And frankly, it's none of my business.
Can't be bothered. Can't be bothered.
In towns like Loudun, that old fear never really died. It just changed shape. Faith had become a battlefield and distrust a habit. Among them is, as mentioned above, Father Urbain Grandier, already a fixture of Loudun's life, eloquent, educated, and impossible to ignore. For over a decade, he preached at Saint Pierre du Marché, winning admirers with his voice and enemies with his arrogance. He is also canon of Saint Croix, 2 posts that allow him to support his widowed mother. So he was just a great guy. Great guy.
Is it Croix or Croix?
Croix. I think it's Croix.
I don't know.
Well, if we're gonna say French, it's Croix. But
okay,
fine.
Do you know that was my favorite Simpsons joke when they're all laughing and the teacher goes on Francois and they go oh, and they change the way that they laugh. Sorry.
And that's Chelsea's connection
right there.
No, that's her connection to the French language. Is that Simpsons
on Francois? It's the whole joke. Brilliant writing.
Oh my god.
Back when the Simpsons was funny.
Back in my day. But anyway.
Back in my day, I push a hoop down the road with a stick.
Grandier mocks other priests for their ignorance, pokes holes in their sermons, and publishes satires exposing their hypocrisy. Laughter from the pews, hatred from the pulpit. He crosses powerful men, magistrates, clerics, even agents of Cardinal, how do you say this? I spelled it out phonetically. Richelieu.
Yeah.
Who is the Red Eminence of France. Grandier speaks too loudly in defense of Loudun's independence and openly attacks clerical celibacy.
Yeah, he wanted to hook up.
He wanted to fuck.
And why not? And when he wasn't angering the elite, he was courting scandal because Grandier's charm is undeniable. He was tall, handsome, quick-tongued, and his weakness for women was an open secret because there are whispers of noble daughters and married parishioners, late night visits, broken confessions, and rumors thicken that he even fathered a child by Philippa Troncome. And the crown's agents were tearing down the city walls, and Grandier stood there with the locals who wanted the stones to stay. Yet, despite it all, or perhaps because of it, the people of Loudun couldn't quite decide what to make of him. Because some saw him as a man of brilliance and conviction, a priest who was too honest for his own good, and others saw only arrogance and sin. And by 1632, Grandier was both adored and despised, a man admired from afar and cursed under breath in the marketplace. He had made himself impossible to ignore, and in Loudun, that would prove fatal.
A few streets away stood the Ursuline convent, meant to be a sanctuary, a stone-walled enclosure for young women from noble and wealthy families. They had been sent there by their parents to be educated, protected, and shaped into models of piety. They were strictly disciplined and shielded from the chaos of the town, or so it seemed.
And among them was Jeanne d'Angers.
I
I didn't write the pronunciation behind that one. She was sent, we're going to call her Jeanne, was sent as a girl, the daughter of a minor noble family. And her parents sought to give her education, protection, and social prestige, to mold her into a proper, devout young woman ready for the church or for a strategically advantageous marriage. And the convent promised order, discipline, and piety. But for Jeanne, this life would become both a cage and a stage, sharpening her imagination, her fears, and eventually her power over others in the convent. That's very interesting. I did not know that they sent women to convents to strategically align them for a good marriage. I thought once you were sent to the convent, you were like on the shelf in terms of marriage.
Well, I think that's another thing to point out and remember with this specific convent, that it wasn't like your stereotypical. It was made for rich girls. It was made for rich girls who like
to avoid the plague, right? Because parents would send them away.
Yeah, the plague of many things. The plague of the Black Death, the plague of premarital sex, the also just the plague of rumor, the plague of being seen with someone of a lower class when appearances mean everything. Even the smallest rumor can ruin like prestige of a family line, so it's easier to put you away. And so like this convent was different. You weren't there forever necessarily. You could just be there until they're ready to take you out and marry you away.
Sure. It was a good place to just keep you
in the box.
You sweet.
Yeah. To keep you sweet, to keep you in pristine condition, if you will, like a Barbie that hasn't been played with. So yeah. Jeanne's rise to Mother Superior was a combination of devotion, ambition, and understanding of convent politics. She distinguished herself early, obedient enough to earn the trust of the older nuns, and strict enough to command respect from the younger novices. She knew how to read a sister's fear, desire, and guilt, and she used it to maintain authority. By her mid-20s, she had been elected Mother Superior, a position granted her control over the convent's daily life, discipline, and reputation. In the eyes of nuns, Jeanne was both protector and enforcer.
And it begins quietly. One junior nun, a girl barely out of childhood, cries out in the middle of the night, and she sees a pale confessor hovering at the edge of her bed, whispering words she cannot understand, pressing a hand to her forehead as though casting a spell. She cannot move, cannot speak. She can only watch. The next night, another nun screams that invisible hands are gripping her arms, pulling her toward a shadow that seems to breathe in the corners of her room. Soon, whispers fill the halls. People saying, "He is here. He calls to me. He will not leave." Shadows stretch longer, corridors feel colder, and every prayer becomes a test of endurance. Apparitions refuse to stay confined. Ghosts drift silently through the halls, black orbs gather at the edges of torchlight, and sisters are struck by invisible blows, thrown to the stone floors, or racked with uncontrollable, gasping laughter. And as Mother Superior, Jeanne, already uneasy, interprets these events as demonic visitation, and she names the culprit. And there is no question in her mind that the devil's agent is Urbain Grandier. And when the first screams echo from the Ursuline convent, Grandier isn't an outsider called in to face them. He is already part of Loudun's pulse, a presence felt in every street, every whispered scandal. And that is exactly what will doom him, because they already mocked Cardinal Richelieu, and he did it in print. He fucking wrote it down. He defied church authority and earned enemies who were eager for a scapegoat. So when accusations needed a target, they had one waiting. So the convent erupts, screams echo through stone corridors, doors slam open, and the townspeople notice, they start to talk, and they come running. And fear, long simmering in Loudun, finally has found a shape, and it is named. And the town demands action, and the convent chaplain and local clergy do what they have been trained to do: exorcisms. At first, the rituals are private and careful, but when the screams draw neighbors and officials, exorcism becomes performance. The nuns bend so far backwards that their hands hit their heads, that their hands hit their heels. Heels. I misread that. But heads crack forward,
There you go.
then back again. I watched a video about this when their heads crack forward. I'm talking all the way back, all the way forward, like head banging, but their heads were hitting both their spines and their sternum by cracking so fucking hard, like a little lafufu head, just
Yeah, just flapping in the wind.
back and forth, moving so quick that they were like puppets on invisible strings. Their tongues would dart out, blackened and blistered, and they were speaking in tongues, and the body spasmed into grotesque, convulsive shapes.
Okay, let me ask you a question real quick. Do you believe that people can be possessed by demons?
Yes.
Well, great.
Hear me out. Do I think that demonic possession looks like scuttling around, convulsing, things like that? No. I think, as we have discussed it before, that the most accurate depiction of a quote unquote demonic possession is something more akin to Rosemary's Baby. Not in the crazy baby being born, but in the fact that this negativity surrounds you and starts to impact your life in a way that you are no longer interacting on the same like vibration, social scale, whatever you want to say, as the people around you. If you want to call that demonic possession, or if you want to call that like frequency disruption, whatever you want to say it, I think that there are ways where we can become beacons for bullshit, and it can ruin our lives, much like your car.
Yeah. So would you say that like you interpret demonic possession as like mental illness?
No. No. I think this is like a hard one to define, because I pretty much believe in everything, and there's also a ton of shit I don't know, right?
Mhm.
Do I think that Annalise Michel probably had epilepsy? Yeah, obviously.
Mhm.
Do I think that the power of belief and ritual can fix a lot of shit that modern medicine cannot? Yes. But I think that mental illness and like evil moving its way throughout your lives are two very different things.
I mean,
Maybe they can both exist in the same person, but I also think that like run-of-the-mill mental illness, probably the answer. Here, demonic possession, because it's Spooktober, and I'm not going to have you bring any science into this and muck it up with your modern bullshit. No, well.
It's interesting because sometimes I think the waters get a little muddy for me when I think about this, because I believe that words have power. I believe that I don't think you could manifest your way out of debt, but I think that you can say positive mantras to put you in a better headspace to
Agreed.
do better, be better, and move in a better forward fashion.
Yeah.
I think that it's like that whole God, what's the
Like The
fucking
Secret.
yeah, like The Secret a little bit,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Or like they say, you take like you plant like two plants and you scream at one that it's horrible and ugly, and then you tell the other one positive affirmations, and the positive affirmations one will grow bigger and better. It's like that.
Yeah.
I think that like there is power behind that. And when you break that down, it's like the power of like mental thought, right? It's the ability to overcome those negative thoughts and those little like brain twitches you have that make
Yeah.
you kind of like go off the rails into negativity sometimes. And I think that it gets a little muddy for me because using myself as an example, unmedicated me was so susceptible to such negativity that it genuinely drew me into, and I say this hyperbolically, like demonic people, like genuine
Yeah.
evil people who do bad things.
Yeah.
And I could attribute that to being like having being an unmedicated person. So like my mental state wasn't in a place of healthy, positive thinking. And so I was like pulling myself into this place where bad things and bad people happen. And as someone who believes in science and not demonic possession, there's something interesting about that correlation that almost circles back to the horrific ways that we examined mental illness in the 1800s,
Yeah.
thinking that it's all like demonic witchcraft and whatever. But there's like a little tiny speck that like comes from believing in this kind of like positive affirmation power, and recognizing that like not taking care of yourself, especially if you have like a mental illness, will like put
Yeah.
you in like a negative frequency, if you will, like you were saying, like it puts you in that negative frequency. And what is that? Well, I guess the word demonic has to come from demons in relation
Yeah.
to the Bible. So it's like I use the word demon in a different way. So I guess maybe it's not. But to me, I almost see like a tiny speck of correlation between like being unmedicated and like hearing the voices and putting yourself in bad situations with people who I hyperbolically call demonic.
Yeah. So one thing I always tell people at Derby is like, I don't let them do negative self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
It's always like, get the mind right and the body will follow.
Mm-hmm.
And where the mind goes, the energy flows, is like the two main things I'm always telling them, because I feel like when I say like we can bring evil shit in, we can bring evil shit in by being like, I fucking suck. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that words have powers in ritual where if you repeat them enough, then they can almost charge up to like some sort of like what sigil magic with a K.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. I'm with you. Like, I don't, like, I'm also heavily medicated for
Yeah.
mental illness. And I don't think that that has anything to do with any religious aspect, period, point blank.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think outside of that, that there is, you can call it whatever you want, religious energy, demons, just bad juju, bad luck out there that can come in and fuck with you? Yeah. And I've seen it happen with you. You've seen it happen with me,
Mm-hmm.
where it's that like negativity. And that's why I think like demonic possession, quote unquote, is more akin to like Rosemary's Baby, where just bad people start surrounding you.
But that
And
was
like your
giving birth
life
to
can,
the Antichrist.
Well, that's just a metaphor because like what happens what
Yeah.
happens when you have to like crawl out of hell? It's the hero's journey. You literally have to have a rebirth. You see it with fucking Luke Skywalker,
Well,
dude.
hey,
That
maybe
gets ripped apart by Vader and he goes into the you know what I mean? Like,
maybe we're actually interpreting religious text and vernacular in the metaphorical sense. Like, I don't think demons are real things from hell that suck your soul or whatever. I think demons are bad people who live and walk among us who do bad things and want to harm intentionally. Like, I think Netanyahu's a fucking human demon walking on earth. Like, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's why I find like a little correlation
yeah.
with like when you don't take care of yourself and when you don't take care of your mental health, how you're more susceptible to demons, because I interpret it in the metaphorical sense, not the literal sense. I see it as like when you do that, you make yourself susceptible to like bad people and bad things because you're putting yourself in a bad situation where you're not taking care of yourself.
Yeah, and I definitely take on a more fantastical belief too. Like I saw a bunch of mushrooms when I was out walking the other day. You think I'm going to step into the middle of them? Fuck no. I saw sunglasses hanging on a branch and I was like, did a human find those and leave them? Or are the fairies trying to trick me into getting something that isn't mine? Either way, I'm not touching them.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that there is a lot of like, because I really like folk magic and stuff like that,
Mhm.
where I'm like, oh, and you know what? You do some of it too, where it's like, oh, we're going to leave our stones out on a full moon and charge them. Or
Mhm.
we wear our hematite rings. You know, I think that there's a lot of magic or religion or whatever you want to layer it in, shit we don't understand that maybe science hasn't caught up to explaining yet. And that's where I kind of place this stuff of just shit I don't understand yet. And
Yeah.
that is very separate from shit I do understand. And you can label that however you want. You can label it demons, you can label it energy, you can label it vibrations, fucking fairies, dude. Either way, I'm leaving pennies out so that they don't come get my ass. I have a carved pumpkin out so Sam Hain doesn't haunt my house for a year. Don't tell me there's not ritual and power in ritual because I be doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree. I guess I'm just like, ob to summarize it,
It's hard to
obviously,
define, right? It's
it's
hard
hard
to
to
define.
it's hard to define, but I guess to me, I have changed verbiage in my brain because I don't believe in Christianity at all, and I interpret Christian ideology through a metaphorical lens.
Yeah.
So when I read about like people being demonically possessed, I don't actually think of it as like a demon from hell. I think of it as in like something in their life has put them in a situation where they are more subject to horrible things happening and horrible people. And I mean,
Yeah.
every time we've like done a deep dive on an exorcism, there's always some external cause or stressor
Yeah.
that's happening to these people that would like obviously make anyone have a break, if you will, like a mental break. So
Yeah.
I have to like remind myself of that because sometimes I'm like, yeah, that's like basically demons. But when I say it, it's different. I don't mean
Yeah.
like demons from hell. I feel like I've gone so far into another realm of like my beliefs and understandings that I don't even interpret Christianity as real. It's fairy tale to me. So it's superstitious. It's metaphorical. It's like you have to look at the field of mushrooms through the witch's hole type shit.
Yeah, and I think that's why I appreciate you so much because, like, do I believe people can be demonically possessed? Yes. Knowing how you feel about that, I also know that you supported me when I bought my dad a tracking device for his birthday because I didn't want Sasquatch to get him
Yeah.
after we read the missing 411. So I appreciate you supporting on the different scales that I have, but I feel like at the end of the day, they align, just our definitions or our interpretations are different.
Hmm.
And yet, look at us come together. And you know what? I track your ass too.
And
So,
as you should. I also want to say, do you think that their tongues were really black and blistered?
yeah.
Why?
fucking oral hygiene back then?
Oh,
Are you
you're probably
serious?
so right. You're probably so right. Maybe if you like never
Oh,
brush your teeth and you're screaming for 12 hours a day.
yeah. And I bet during like the bubonic plague, their health or like their food, like their resources was so fucked. Dude, the perfume I have that I
Mhm.
bought in Europe was used to treat the bubonic plague because they thought it was a disease of vapors, like
Yeah.
literal smells.
Yeah.
And you know what? I smell delicious. This is me doing my millennial dancing.
Listen to Patreon to hear about that. But
Yeah.
okay. Okay. So you don't actually, on record, you don't think that there was a like Osmodeus the demon was inside of these girls turning their tongue black.
Uh, not convinced quite yet. Do I think we've read some shit where I'm like, that's demons, bitch?
Sure.
Yes. Right now, do I think we are in a maybe folie à deux type thing, like shared psychosis? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the head's whipping back and forth, though, head hitting like spine, head hitting sternum, that's demonic. I'm worried about that more than I'm worried about the fucking tongues. I'll tell you that.
I mean, you
The
say that.
hypermobility of these girls was non-existent. Oh, you know what? They probably all had rickets and were just actually falling apart. So you know what? Maybe I take it back.
Yeah, maybe. But anyway, okay.
Okay. Convulsive shapes. The crowd swells. Local farmers, aristocrats from miles away, English gawkers, voices from the nuns' names,
Asmodeus.
Asmodeus. I keep putting the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. Astaroth and Behemoth, Leviathan. And the rumor thickens that the devil and some locals are dancing together. And to track the rumor, step into that period's logic. Because to understand the diagnosis, you really have to come at it with a 17th century mind. Because in that world, devils must display credentials. Foreign tongues, the victims can't speak, uncanny clairvoyance, preternatural strength, and sometimes even levitation, because those were the orthodox signs of possession. And ironically, they are also signs of holy inspiration. And the heavens and hells share a very performative grammar. So in Loudun, the exorcists focus not just on the what afflicts the nuns, but really the who, which the devil sits in which part of the body, which sorcerer who's out there smiling cinnamon. So if you name the map, then you got to name the man. So when the nuns' voices scream that a priest has bewitched them, that a bouquet of roses over a wall carries enchantment like perfume, that Asmodeus pinwheels into bodies at his command, it is not difficult for Jean de Laubardemont. Oh, I got it,
You
Laubardemont,
did.
a royal commissioner and onlooker, to believe that fate itself had delivered a scandal with a convenient neck. Power arrives with paperwork and a seal. So Laubardemont returned to Loudun armed with an iron-edged decree. He holds absolute authority, and other judges and the parliament must stand aside, and there will be no appeals. The nuns are questioned and dispersed amongst houses, exorcists multiply, and what began as a local crisis hardened into a royal affair, and Grandier is ultimately arrested. And the executions were very public, and there were thousands who attended the exorcisms. It was not done at church, it was not done privately, and instead it turned into theater. Screams rattled the rafters, and habits were torn and fluttered like wounded birds. Obscene gestures would compete with cries for mercy. The nuns called exorcists by their names. They taunted them with lewd propositions that they will later deny ever remembering. And for foreigners and nobles, Loudun became a curiosity, an afternoon at the edge of hell. And for the crown, it is an opportunity. And for Grandier, it was the oven preheating. And then the producers changed the script because the accused becomes the exorcist. You see, on June 1923, 1634, the Bishop of Poitiers and Laubardemont gather everyone at the Church of Saint Croix. And they place the stole in Grandier's hands, make him the exorcist, and order him to confront the devils themselves. If you say this is an imposture, Father, cast them out, they said. So he accepted. And in August 1634, the case is heard before local magistrates, stacked and steered by royal will. The charges are a familiar litany to the readers of the Malleus, which we covered last time. Pacts with the devil, Sabbats, Maleficia. A written pact signed in blood is produced and supposedly flinched from Lucifer's own cabinet by the devil Asmodeus. And Grandier's body is shaved and probed for insensitive marks. And witness after witness, 72 in all, swear to what they have seen or what they have been told to see. And the court records swelled to thousands of sheets, and promises are made, but mercy is not one of them. Regardless of it all, Grandier denies everything. And he has promised last words. He has promised a hanging before the flames as mercy, but he will receive neither, because the judgment was public, ornate, and cruel. And it was amende honorable, rope around his neck, a burning taper, drag him to St. Croix, burn him alive, scatter the ashes, confiscate the goods, and before the execution, submit him to the first and last degrees of torture. That is a literal quote. So now the ritual meal began. A device known as the boot, the iron and wood and wedges to reduce shins to crush pulp, bones to chalk. Still, Grandier does not confess. He will not name any accomplices. And out on the scaffold, he does try to speak, but friars blast him with holy water to drown his words. And the executioner reaches for a garrote, but a Capuchin exorcist, lactates enraged, lights the fire too soon. The rope catches on fire, flames leap, and the body falls alive into the wood. And a crowd of thousands watches the smoke take shape like a man trying to stand. A curtain, or so it should be. And it should be the end, but it isn't. Because even after all that, the possessions continue, and the show goes on. The same devils purr, and the same obscenities, the same crowd pack the nave elbow to elbow, whispering that the fire should have cleansed the town. Cardinal Richelieu will eventually end the performances, not with a miracle, but with a budget. He cuts money flowing to the showmen, and the show stops. Politics has had its fill, but holiness tries one last rewrite. But inside the convent, the story is not over. Father Jean-Joseph Suran arrives months after Grandier's ashes are scattered, and he brings Saint Teresa's language of mystic love, urges Jeanne to move inward, to prayer and penance. And in a gesture so medieval it feels modern again, he just asks the devils to leave Jeanne and come to him. And they do. Suran will spend years haunted, breath uneasy, hands trembling, and words jammed like bones in the throat. And Jeanne's symptoms lessen as Suran's worsen. It is a terrible exchange rate for grace. But then a new kind of sign writes itself on skin. In 1637 to 1638, the final act, on Jeanne's left hand appears names, indelible as brands: Jesus, Marie, Joseph, Francois de Sales. She takes her hand on a triumphant pilgrimage. She goes on tour, bitch, to Annecy, to Richelieu, to the king, and crowds line up, 5,000 a day, to see the living reliquary and to hear the Mother Superior speak of ravishment and joy. It is the apotheosis of the performance that devils exist, but that a saint can arrive on the same stage.
Okay. Knowing what we know about marketing and PR, especially religious PR, do you not think that this is all a ploy to get people back to the Catholic Church, since there was a mass exodus to leave?
No.
You
Do
don't
I think it was a ploy?
You don't
Maybe.
think that this was like,
I don't think that it would have been so organized and expensive if it was.
I mean, you say that, but I think of like, okay, let's
I
get
think it
on.
was more political.
Let's
I
get
think
on
that they
this.
wanted to get this dude out and it went too far.
I think it's twofold. So let's get on the same page. What are the Mormons believe? It's like the 12 guys that talk to God, right? The apostles.
Oh yeah,
So the Mormons they believe currently that there's 12 apostles, who are divinely ordained and they all can talk to God, right?
Allegedly.
But
Yes. I think that I'm not
okay,
sure 100% what they believe. Maybe I
I'm
think
pretty
that might be it.
I'm pretty sure that's it, right?
Or the prophets? Is it the
Is
apostles
it
or
the
the prophet?
prophets? I don't know. It's
Do
like
Mormons, I'll Google it. Do
it's
you know
like
who?
12 dudes who all are like they all think, I shouldn't say think. They all believe that they have a direct line to God.
Yes, it is the quorum of the 12 apostles, and
God, I'm so good. I'm so good.
they believe that they are chosen to be special witnesses of
Mm-hmm.
Christ. And today, these apostles are given the role to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ throughout the world. The quorum of the 12 is the second highest leadership in the body of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yeah, because they're the ones who will be like, "Oh my God, Jesus came to me in my sleep and he said that black people are allowed in the Mormon church now." Like that's how that all happened, right? So
Yeah.
here's this is how I'm gonna get us on the same page with the religion. Do you think those 12 men can talk to God?
No.
I also say no.
Do I believe that they can probably pray? I believe that they can pray. Do I
Sure.
think that someone is telling them that it's okay on the piggybacking the civil rights movement to let black people into the church was God, or was it politics? I don't think that was God talking to them.
Yes, exactly, exactly, exactly. So like so we can agree with that, right?
Agreed. Yes.
But it's not like they have a script to follow. They're all just doing a form of improv because like if you have 12 people in a room who all say I am the guy that God talks to, you're going to get a lot of yes anding, and they can't say that the other is lying. They all just have to keep going with the bit.
Yeah.
And the bit goes on and on and on. And none of them are on the same page because we agree that like they're not actually talking to God, but they all have to believe in each other's power. So they all have to believe what each other is saying. So it is one giant improv, yes, and you can never rebuttal. You just have to keep adding on to.
Yeah, because you can never say someone isn't talking because then you're undermining their authority. But if you say you don't hear it, then you're saying that you're not a radio mouthpiece for God. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So we can imagine how this game of yes and could go into crazy land, and obviously it does sometimes for Mormons even in the modern day.
It's very Salem witchcraft trials, like one
exactly
spark. Yeah.
So take this same principle and throw it here and mix in, just like the Mormons with the politically induced messages from God. If church attendance has dropped, you went from a country that was run on Catholicism and it has dropped, and now there's a competing religion that's taking money out of your coffers and butts out of your pupils. Are you not going to yes and this motherfucker, like to the point where you are putting on a marketing PR stunt to get people back? What better fucking way than like a series of staged exorcisms to prove the power of the devil, to get everyone afraid, and then to show the ultimate power of the priesthood of the Catholic Church, and then showing like divine like stigmata, essentially like you're showing that like the hand of God has touched her, quote unquote. That to me is literally the political influenced game of yes anding God talks to me. Like,
see, here's my thing. I don't think it was a church thing trying to like get people to go back to church.
How could
Maybe
you not
after,
think that? How could you not think they went to
because
war?
I think it was a complex thing of like political drive and mass hysteria. I don't think that the infrastructure was so complex where they were like, we're going to do this to get people to come back to church, because there was already like a lot of other shit they could have used, like the bubonic plague, right? I think that this was literally, you had a priest who was challenging the status quo. So when one nun starts to fucking crack at the pressure of being a woman during those days, at a nunnery nonetheless, uh, and weird shit starts to happen, I think it's easy to pull a scapegoat out. It's going to be the weirdo priest who just wants to fuck, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think for it to be a church thing, I think it would have to have a higher level of sophistication. So, and I just don't think this was sophisticated enough for it to come from the top down.
Well,
I think it was crappy enough that it started in the trenches and went from the bottom up. So I think that the church cashed in on it eventually.
Sure.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
think that was the start.
I think that Jeanne was like looking around, noticing that her chore lists were going up because attendance was going down. There weren't as many sisters brought to the nunnery. And I bet as a Mother Superior, she also got to listen into the fucking admin talks of like, how much money they're not getting. You know, like she's sitting in on those conversations. And I bet she's like, what can I do to like get people back, you know? And I think that she was like, I'm going to put on a little show. And then all the girls yes-anded that show. And they yes-anded so well. Her plan worked so well that they then were like, oh my God, and we can get that motherfucking bitch slut man priest in this too. It was like a 2-for-1. And then as more external priests of different like Catholic churches across different towns come in and participate, they're doing the yes-anding. They're yes-anding. What do you do? How do you yes-and an exorcism? You fucking give yourself the stigmata and go on tour.
Yeah, I think I agree that like later on it was probably her cashing in on it to be like a mouthpiece. I bet it was something so rudimentary. I mean, if I'm a nun or I'm a woman back then and I'm just like, fuck you to some guy and they're like, we're going to burn you at the stake. I'm like, oh my God, I was possessed. My bad.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe it was like some sort of protection for just women ultimately, like just an outlet for expression that was actually protected at the time. Like if I was able to actually say what I was thinking and get away with it by just claiming possession, I would probably do it too if I was like in that position, you know? Like my parents want to marry off to some like guy who's like in his 60s. In his 30s, that's the 60s of the medieval age.
Yeah.
Fucking disgusting.
I don't know. I think she was more in on it than like she was just a sassy girl having fun and got caught up with a miniskirt on. I think that she was like in it for the PR of it all.
I don't know. Like the thing that's just such a bummer is I think that maybe she knew deep down, but I think it was probably just some sort of political manipulation of these poor women. Like I bet the priests or the power that be didn't like that Grandier was challenging the status quo. So like we see in all these, they weaponized hysteria to like, you know, and then I do think though, going around and showing people like your hands and becoming like a walking holy relic, I think is a little, doesn't seem very nun-like, does it?
Yeah, you're not giving her as much power as Mother Superior as I am. That's where we're disagreeing.
That's fair. I think it's fair. I think there's probably like 1,000,001 complex reasons, and they're probably all true in their capacity. Like, I just don't think it started as a PR campaign. I think it probably started, maybe some girl got her period and freaked out. I think it started very innocuous and the church cashed in though. So I do agree with you on that the church did cash in eventually. Sure. I'm just not sure if that was like what started it. But I don't know whatever starts this stuff. You know that the Salem witchcraft trials probably started over land disputes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Over rent. The fucking landlords once again.
Always. It always comes back.
Fuck them. Anyway. Not Giles Corey. He's a friend of the podcast.
Best friend of the podcast.
So back to Jeanne, her chemise became a relic, and her head, after death, was kept and venerated, which is honestly kind of like metal. And the convent became a holy place. Loudun's sphere had been sublimated into a pilgrimage of economy, of grace, and rumor. But let's kind of take a step back and change the lens a bit. Because from one vantage point, it is a pretty straightforward morality play. You have a seductive priest, a convent falls ill, demons speak, and the church, after all this tribulation, wins. But if you scratch the paint from that, the wood underneath is politics, psychology, and power. A Sorbonne ruling in 1610 had actually warned against admitting demonic testimony, quote unquote, that the devil is the father of lies. But in 1634, the theater of exorcism became the court itself. And Grandier burned in spite of that specific principle. There was counter choruses that were rising, not from clinics and not from choirs, but rather from this power struggle of the time. And there were physicians who dared to say that not devils, but visions, error of imagination, accelerated by fasting, isolation, the peculiar heat of a young religious order was just trying to prove itself. Which is so interesting. I didn't even think of the heat at the time. Like, how long do you have to be fucking hot before you snap?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I didn't have air conditioning for one summer, and I was a bitch the whole time.
Yeah, it's true.
I let the demons in. I had my door wide open. Later, others would speak of hysteria and nymphomania, and still later, neurologists would cite that Charcot. Anyway, later neurologists would say that the convulsions kind of fit into medical taxonomy. The 19th century editor, Georges Gilles de la Tourette actually, would public school, would publish Jeanne's memoir with a subtitle, quote unquote, autobiography of a possessed hysteric, which is honestly kind of sick. I would love to put that possessed hysteric on a shirt.
I know, that's sick.
I'm actually going to just put that into a note right now because we just did the other shirts. We did a whole
heretic shirt.
Yeah, we did. But possessed hysteric and heretic shirts, that's kind of sick.
Also, Charcot is a condition that damages the bones and joints in the foot or ankle due to nerve damage.
I have never seen that word before in my life.
It's the last name of the French neurologist who discovered the condition, Jean-Martin Charcot.
But then you have the Tourette's guy, so you must have discovered Tourette's. Look how much we're learning today. Who knew that the guy who discovered Tourette's would also weigh in on the Loudun possessions?
Actually, it seems pretty on par.
I learned something so fucking crazy the other day, and I can't remember what it was.
Clearly, it was so crazy that you remember it. Clearly, it was so crazy. It was like, important.
I think it was, hold on. It was like, what series is Last Podcast covering right now?
Nazis.
Yeah, the Nazis, specifically Heinrich Himmler. Heinrich Himmler's grandson went on to write for Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
What the fuck?
Isn't that crazy?
What?
Heinrich Himmler's grandson
wrote
for Deep Space Nine.
What the fuck?
Isn't time so fucking weird, dude?
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. What the fuck?
Blew my fucking mind.
Bro, not like the progressive sci-fi show. Literally, Himmler's grandson writes on.
Right?
Oh my god.
Broke my fucking brain. I was gonna text you. I can't remember. I don't know what I was doing. Maybe I was in the shower and I didn't have my phone with me, but I was listening to the podcast. I was like, we talked about this. And then I forgot until just now.
So fucking.
Isn't that wild?
Crazy.
It's fucking
nuts. Never in a million years would I have guessed that's what you were gonna say.
Me either until I finally remembered it.
Oh my god. Wow. Wow. Anyway, that's a lot.
Anyway, yeah. So autobiography of a possessed hysteric merch coming soon. So yeah, even that sentence carries a whisper of tribute because Jeanne wrote herself into sainthood by narrating her demons, and from exile, another script entirely. There are also the Huguenot voices later in exile who would insist this was calculated theater.
That's me. Yeah. I'm in exile.
So there were other Noel voices who claimed that maybe the nuns were coached, that a
Yeah.
libertine priest who mocked Richelieu and opposed royal demolition was simply removed.
Yup. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You see, the crowd was fed a devil so it would stop looking at the minister in red. A classic fucking false flag red herring. And in a grim symmetry, many Catholic respondents would publish equally elaborate defenses, arguing that the nuns were genuinely possessed and the royal officers were beyond reproach. The pamphlet war would last decades. So this is where you get like the church was involved. The church cashed the fuck in and profited 100%.
Yeah, man.
I feel like if the church would have thought that something was going on, they would have shut it down immediately. But then once they saw like political opponents, they're like, oh, get this bitch a tattoo and send her around on tour.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Yeah. Interesting. So if you've ever wondered, Noelle, how exorcism could dominate a town, imagine spectacle supercharged with permission. Imagine women who had taken vows of silence and modesty being told in public that the devil inside them might blaspheme, expose, mock, bite, roar, and that none of it would be their fucking problem. It wouldn't be a sin for them. That liberation of a sort made inside a cage, the imagery of spiritual warfare allowed the Ursulines to taunt and wrestle male exorcists in front of crowds, only to be pulled back into chains, either literal or liturgical, when the rite ended, blowing off steam, one may say. And the social and sexual electricity is obvious, but so is the patriarchal snap back when the curtain falls. Because if you label the chaos, you can manage it. That's so fucking sick, dude.
Yeah,
blowing
man.
off steam, ripping off your nun habit and telling a guy to kiss your ass. And they're like, oh, poor sister.
I know.
That would
I
be-
know they were fucking ripping their bras off and shaking tits.
Ugh.
And they were like flicking their tongue and being like, the devil fucks me. Like, that's
They're like-
awesome.
They're
That's so
chewing
cool.
charcoal to make their mouths look black.
Yeah, man. That shit's
You know,
cool.
I used charcoal toothpaste for years and it was honestly fun to brush my teeth. So, because it looked black.
Yeah,
It's
the
cool.
devil was coming for you, girl.
So, the demonology's administrative neatness, which spirit, where in the body, what rank, etc., gave authority a way to measure and map the mysterious. The same urge to catalog that would build museums and natural histories and could also inventory hell. And hell responds well to inventory. It multiplies under labels. And the crowd, of course, wanted a body. And the boot gave it. The stake gave it. The amende honorable was designed to humiliate, it doesn't matter, was designed to humiliate before destroyed. If Miracle had finished the business, i.e. if the devils had gone out with Grandier's last breath, then the crown could have claimed a neat ending. But the devils talk too much, don't they? They stayed 3 more years, and the shows continued, and the town turned their rapture into receipts. The problem of governance had become a tourist economy of dread.
Oh my God, bro, I almost missed that. If the demons left when the crown gave permission to burn Grandier at the stake, it would have shown power in the crown. But if they let it go for 3 more years and a priest cures it, then it's power in the Catholic Church.
So
This is
fucking
PR,
smart.
bitch. This is
Yeah.
such PR, bitch.
That's so smart. And then to turn it into an economy, turn it into like a tourist trap. That's so smart. I didn't think the Catholic Church was that smart. I mean, look at who's
I know. Look at who's joining.
And if all of this is feeling cinematic, that's because it is. And we keep remaking it. Aldous Huxley wrote The Devils of Loudun. John Whitting staged it. Ken Russell filmed it. And it was banned and hacked apart in some markets for blasphemy and sex. In every version, the camera can't decide whether to linger on Jeanne's twisted ecstasy or Grandier's beautiful ruin. And the audience can't decide whether the devils are inside the nuns or inside the system that choreographed the hysteria. And you'll recognize the shape of history of the story today. Swap out Richelieu for any savvy political operator. Swap Grandier for any inconvenient figure who can be made the face of the nebulous threat. Swap devils for rumor, figure who can be made the face or who can be the conspirator, miracles for viral clips. The Satanic Panic of the 1980s replayed Loudun on daytime talk shows and in courtrooms that admitted nightmare as fact. Loudun is a lens that magnifies our appetites for scapegoats and spectacles. But Loudun insists that evil isn't even satisfied by logic. Fear wants form wants spectacle, and spectacle wants body. And once you build the stage will demand more acts. So a town afraid of walls coming down finds a wall inside the convent to protect. A crown eager to erase local autonomy finds a priest bold enough to make an example, and a prioress straining for the language of ecstasy finds it in a devil's voice, and an exorcist who longs to help offers his own body as collateral. Everyone gets what they came for, and no one comes away clean.
Also, a note that this is the storyline of The Exorcist too. The priest says, "Come into my body."
Yep, exactly.
And that's how Regan is freed.
History repeats itself. So in the ruins, modern minds try to tidy the scene. You have hysteria, trauma, grief, fasting, suggestibility, performance, crowd psychology. All true, perhaps. But the horror doesn't live in the diagnosis. The horror is how useful the diagnosis was to the people who tallied the devils and entered them into the ledger of power. The
and that's on how the church does PR.
That's crazy pants.
Dude. It's also like such a bummer because the movie The Devils is so sexy, kooky, fun, awesome. And then you're like, oh, I forgot. It's just a bunch of fucking cunts. It's just a bunch of dumb fucking cunts trying to get people to come to church.
Yeah, and I didn't watch it. I was supposed to watch it, and then I can't remember what I started to do. Well, I had a game this weekend, and the weekends are really the only time I have time for anything.
Yeah, well, just know it's so hard to have the two things live side by side. Both like this movie is so awesome and sexy, and then like, oh, this is just fucking church marketing. But I digress. What I can digress is everyone going to the links in our bios. I am at Noel Fain. That is at Sith Lord. We are at Go to Hell Podcast. And in those links in our bios, you can find a link tree, which will bring you to our Patreon. $1 gets you in. And it will bring you to our merch, where 100% of the proceeds are donated. We put up new Heretic merch. You can also find some merch that was created by Kelly Holloran or at Wildwood Owl on Etsy. She makes cool shit for us, and she makes cool shit in general, so go check her out. We also have a link for our YouTube where you can bully us in the comments. If you're in the Salt Lake area and you're hearing this on Thursday the 23rd, we are going, I think, whatever Thursday is, we're going to be introing some horror shorts, so come check that out. There's only a few tickets left. You can find the QR code for tickets on our social pages. And we also have it, but I don't know why you'd need it, but it's a link to listen to us, which is anywhere podcasts are heard.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and give a hail to sexy nuns who were put there not on their own choice and then got their tits out anyway.
Hell yeah. I'm going to say hail the type of headbanging where you are just working your fucking neck muscles by doing it.
Yeah, couldn't be me. I slept on my pillow wrong and my neck hurt.
Yeah, sometimes if I sneeze hard, I pull a muscle in my neck. So
sometimes if I get out of bed and my head leads before my body, I'll pull a muscle in my back.
Dude, the other day I like rolled over. Fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's on being in your 30s. So love that. Anyway. Yeah, that's it. Let's get the fuck out of here.
All right, bye.
Bye.